Okay, just waiting on the okay to hear that we are good to go, and then we will get started. I think there's a little bit of a delay, so it might take a hot sec.
Okay, we're good.
We're good? Okay, amazing. So, welcome everyone to season 2 of Utopia Valhalla's final tribal council. We are here with our finalists, Adam, Jeff, and Sam, who have fought their way through what we started with 21, and now we are here with 3 left after 39 days. I think
like that.
close to 39. We almost hit the nail on the head this season. And we are so excited to be here, and we are excited to see who will take the crown from our season 1 winner, Felix, and be the face of Utopia for a little bit. So we are going to kick this off with our opening statements. As the winner of the final immunity challenge, Jeff has chosen the order. So, Jeff, we're going to start with you, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Jurors, miss you guys. Just to get into this, so there's a quote, and like I know this is like nerd shit, but you're gonna have to bear with me here. But a lot of chess players have said this quote over time, that you're supposed to play the opening like a book, the mid game like a magician, and the end game like a machine, and that's sort of like the blueprint for how I play these games. And I've always known that's how I was going to kick it off if I got here. And so I really just want to go over like how my game played out with that sort of blueprint in mind. And so starting sort of in like the book opening, original Monty was kind of a rough start for me, honestly. And I felt like I was connecting with people one-on-one, but I really didn't have like a strong bearing on the groups in that tribe. But ultimately, I was good enough with people that I was let in on the fact that I was perceived as like a super tight duo with Erica. And there was like a plan to target her and leave me out. And like the vote did shift to Chris, and ultimately like it was okay for me. Like I wasn't in any danger, but I felt like I had information coming out of that I had people sort of trying to undercut me. Notably, I think Spencer was somewhat trying to undercut me with people. I don't know if that was to get me closer with him or what, but that's just the way that it was. And so I kind of spent the rest of pre-swap trying to fight against those perceptions that had been set in place and rebuild things with people to get more strategic trust. And once we'd swapped, I was really focused on making sure I was good with Marissa and Janine in that regard, and making sure I was good with every new person that we had swapped with. And that especially extended with Casey, who very quickly became like a number 1 for me along with Marissa. And I sort of started working with them to figure out where our move would be. And that sort of quickly became going against Spencer because, again, I felt like he had been the one undercutting me, and I felt like he was probably the biggest threat to me in the game at that point, as much as, I thought he wanted to work with me. And so that was essentially the plan. Started working to pull in the girls against Spencer because Spencer had been defending Sebastian to me. So I didn't think Sebastian would be super down for a Spencer vote. Ultimately, Spencer wins immunity. Naturally, Sebastian is like the biggest threat that isn't with me in my eyes. And he clocked that really well. Like he knew. And it was, it was tough. And he found an idol, and he idled out Casey. So I lost basically my strategic number 1 at that point. And at that point, I knew I had to lay low, and I made deals with both sides of New Edgear, with Marissa, Mari, and Janine, and with Sebastian, Spencer, and Juliana, that I would vote one of the others out if we had another tribal. And then once we hit merge, I sort of tried to maintain those deals and just lay low and let the chips fall where they may. And once the chips were falling on Spencer, I joined along with that, which kind of transitioned to like the magician thing, like the mid game, which began like a half hour after Spencer went home when I found the merge idol. And that was like huge for me. And it sort of steered the way that I knew I was going to play the rest of the game. And I started limiting the bulk of my calls to specific people, all of whom ended up in the final 6 because I had a very clear image of what was going to happen. And I pushed myself so far into the radar that I was able to successfully guess myself as who do you sometimes forget is playing in touchy subjects. And I used the idol as like a fear-mongering tactic throughout sort of the rest of the merge, really. At Final 10, I really protected Marissa by pushing really hard to Sam that, I think Marissa has this idol. If you guys vote her, something bad might happen. I want you to stay safe. And once, after getting through that, and losing Mickey was unfortunate because I thought I had a good chance to work with him. But once we got through that, and Sam agreed to flip at Final 9, I had a really clear image in my head of how I was going to make it here. And like immediately I knew the rest of the mid game was going to go some order of Kyle, Sebastian, and Juliana. And then that would launch me into like the machine period or the end game, where I really had to like, turn it off and go against my personal feelings and cut the people that I cared about the most. And that started with Janine. And I went to every person in the game armed with a fake idol clue that I had like gotten this idol at Final 7. and use the merge idol as leverage that we have to get Janine out, and I'm going to play it on Sam because they were the only two targets to push that Janine vote to happen. And after that vote was the only real deviation from the thoughts that I had envisioned at 9, which was I originally was trying to vote out Adam at 5. And when Mari started talking about final threes without me to both Marissa and Sam, I knew I had to get her before she got me. And that's why I ended up going in that direction at final 5. And then that led us to final 4, which is the position that, since I was protecting Marissa at 10, I knew was what I needed, which was Marissa versus Sam in final 4, ensuring that I get a spot here. And in spite of all that insurance, I didn't need it because I won final immunity, tied the record for the most immunities in Utopia history along with Janine, and made literally truly the hardest personal decision I've ever made in a game to vote out Marissa. And that's sort of the path that led me here. I voted in the majority every time except for one, which was at final 10 when I threw my vote because the girls were voting for Adam and I didn't want to do that. And I acted like I didn't know that they had told, they didn't tell me an Adam plan. Every other time I voted in the majority, the only other time I was incorrect was Sebastian's idol. I have known where the votes were, and I've had a very clear picture of how I was going to get here, and I'm here now. And I'm happy to answer anything you guys have about that.
Okay, great. And next up, we have Miss Sam.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you so much to Prod. This game was awesome, and I'm so thankful for the experience. And I know that's super cliche to say, but I just thank you for the time and energy you invested, and all the players, obviously, as well. I think it's safe to say that I came into this game with a really easy-to-paint target on my back. I was instantly made into a threat when my really wonderful but obnoxious friends all commented their support for me on the Facebook page, and pretty much everyone on my tribe took notice. So if I wanted to play an under-the-radar game, it basically wasn't going to happen for me. Not to mention, I saw several people on other tribes that were previous connections of mine, so I knew that they would be ticking time bombs to my survival in this game. Despite all this, I think that I played incredibly well on OG Joro. I painted myself in the middle of two power duos between Adam and Caitlin and Ju and Kyle, despite the fact that Adam and Caitlin were never the true power duo, and I was actually both of their #1 allies, unbeknownst to them and everyone else on our tribe. And I still managed to maintain relationships with the rest of the tribe as well. That being said, I was kind of like a seer of knowledge on OG Joro, and I think I knew almost all, if not all, of the things that were happening. I was the only person to learn that Caitlin had the original Joro idol, which I found out because I blackmailed her into sharing her idol clue with me that she got during the first challenge. And through that, I was able to extort Erica for 8 coins, which comes way in handy later in the merge. And then I also knew about the plan to potentially overthrow Adam and Caitlin on that first vote and keep Michael in the first vote we had, which we obviously didn't end up doing, but not the point. At the swap, my playing the middle really helped me out because I ended up swapping with 3 Joros that I have really good connections with. And I definitely leaned into my relationship with Kyle at that point because I knew that Adam and Caitlin were going to be targeted as a power duo. And Kyle basically became my strategic counterpart, my closest ally, my closest confidant, my ride or die. Because of that, I pushed the narrative of Adam and Caitlin being a power duo, and I made amazing relationships with both Jarrett and Mickey, who became 2 of my closest allies throughout the course of the game that I was with them. And because of that, they ended up blindsiding Caitlin instead of either me or Kyle at that point. And by the time we left New Joro, I was the closest ally of every remaining person on that tribe. When we finally made it to merge and I lost Jarrett, it was a huge blow to my game and my heart. And I knew that I would have to rely on other relationships that I had made and just generally my social prowess to get me further. There were 5 players coming into the merge that I had not met yet. And it was the first time that my pre-game connections were really going to start to bubble up and potentially threaten my game. A lot of people were telling me that they wanted to work with me, whether it was old New Joro people or the people on New Ajir that had just had like a really explosive tribal. And I knew I was going to have to send a message about where I stood in the game because rumors really quickly began to spread about my loyalties right at the beginning of the merge. And I needed to show people where I stood. That being said, I believe that I was one of, if not the main contributor to the first 5 votes of the merge. I sparked the Spencer vote with Kyle after I realized that he was either advertently or inadvertently, I'm not sure which, seeding doubt in my relationships with the people from OG Joro and stopping me from making new relationships, EX with Jeff. I absolutely heartbreakingly sacrificed my relationship, my so close relationship with Mickey in order to protect Jeff at Final 10 and save him because I knew that he was better connected to the New Ajir girls and could bring me vital information. I think it's pretty safe to say that at Final 9, the Kyle vote was something I had a pretty large hand in. And then Jeff and I pushed the Sebastian vote at Final 8 as a you owe me to New Ajir after I agreed to vote out Kyle, who was my closest ally. And the Juliana vote fell into my hands as well when I basically had the opportunity to pick whether her or Marissa went home at Final 7 and whether I was going to use my Glassmere advantage to save her or not and force Jeff to flip on Marissa. Basically, I shaped the merge from the beginning until the middle to set myself up with people that I knew would be willing to bring me to the end of this game because of the relationships that I made with them. And after we voted Juliana out at Final 7, I had a pretty solid feeling I would be sitting at Final Tribal unless Marissa or Janine went out the rest of the game. It's no secret that Jeff and Adam were my true ride or die allies this game, and it's no coincidence that they're sitting here next to me. Even after my game was threatened by the death sentence that was Touchy Subjects, I became a meat shield for basically everybody, and I still had the social connections to get me through the end of the game. Basically, my allies saving me at 5 and 4, since those were the only times that my name came down to be written down in this game. I only received 3 votes despite the threat energy that I emitted, and my allies saved me even though it was the perfect time to cut their meat shield ally. The entire game, I think I had tremendous threat energy over my head, and I was an ally to most, a confidant to some, and a meat shield for just about everybody. But everyone knows that in Survivor, you never want the meat shield sitting next to you at the end, but I'm still here. So thank you so much. I had a really, really awesome time playing with you guys, and I look forward to your questions, and yeah, thanks.
All right, awesome. And last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Adam. Take it away.
Hi, guys. I want to start off by just repeating something I said before. Don't vote for me because I have cancer. I'm not interested in a sympathy vote here. Let the game have a little bit of integrity. Please try and find some other reasons to vote for me. I'll do my best to help you along the way there. Not cancer. With that being said, I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that cancer has really affected my ability to play the game. Physically, I did not really... I didn't win any challenges after the merge. I'm physically garbage at this point, but also it's been difficult to focus, and it's been even difficult to have conversations. And I know that you have noticed that. That's a big deal, and that's been a big problem because there are large parts of the game where I was just not present in one way or another because I physically couldn't get to the computer or because I mentally couldn't muster enough to do everything that I really should have done. I'm not trying to make excuses here. That's the reality of that. I take responsibility for that. And that's a big problem. And if you don't want to vote for me because of that, if that's a showstopper, I totally understand. And these guys deserve it. With that said, I think that there are reasons to vote for me. And I'm going to tell you about them. The type of game that these 2 other contestants have talked about playing, that is never the way I wanted to play. I was always going to be different. There's something that resembles a metagame. A lot of people, these 2, they've played orgs before. So, they have a leg up on knowing where idols are hidden and how to find them. And, the previous relationships, you'd like to think it doesn't matter. It definitely does. I don't have any of that. And I knew coming into this, I wouldn't be able to compete on that level. I wanted to be different. I am different. I'm super weird anyway. So being different is just me. And what I wanted is to just play with my heart first. If that's successful, I can form individual bonds with individual people, and those individual people collectively would fight to keep me in the game. And at the end of the day, Survivor is a game about other people wanting to keep you in the game. Other people may calculate what other people will do with percentages and stuff like that. And that's just never the approach that I wanted to have. If my name comes up, which of course everyone's name comes up, I want people in my corner to say, no, I'm not willing to do that. Or let's do something else instead. And those ideas will die before I get enough votes on me to actually eliminate me from the game. If I do this well enough, then I never really have to get my hands dirty with lying to people all of that much, or trying to deceive. I can sort of take the high road through all of that and just kind of survive throughout the course of the game. I wouldn't say that I'm not able to do that kind of thing, but it's just a sort of mark of success. And I think only one time did I ever actually lie or get my hands dirty, and that was with the Mari vote. So in spite of the fact that I had a lot of obstacles between me and just functioning enough to play the game, I had a plan. I stuck to that plan, even though the plan wasn't always perfect and exactly what I wanted. And it got me far enough into the game to where then people started voting out threats to the jury, did not see me as one because I'm different. Hopefully that means that I'm not a goat, but I feel like I'm just different. And if you want to reward that different type of gameplay, something that is not the conventional path to how you win Survivor according to the org meta, then I think I've done it well enough to see enough success through a lot of adversity to get me here. And that's why you should vote for me.
All right, guys, that is it for our opening statements. So next up is the jury questioning period. You're just waiting for our first juror to join us. And once he does, it will be, he has, each juror will have 10 minutes to do with as they please. And here he is. So let me just add him to the stream. One moment. All right. Hi, Spencer.
Hello, Jen and Molly. Hello, finalists. First off, I do just want to say good job to the three of you for making it here. I want to make this more of a conversation rather than me just asking you questions and like waiting for the answer. Because I think, questions can be a little bit one-sided, and I want to give each of you an opportunity to have the chance to explain yourself. I think my vote is incredibly up in the air right now. I think there's about an equal chance that I vote for all three of you. So the first question that I have, and we can just go in alphabetical order for this one. So let's start with Adam. I want to know what you did specifically in this game to earn my vote today.
That is tough because for specifically your vote, I felt like I had the least personal connection with you. We got to the merge and it was right into game talk, and that made me pretty uncomfortable, right? I think with everyone else in the game, I talked about things that weren't the game as long as I possibly could until it was completely imperative that the vote gets talked about. And it was definitely not that way with you. On the other hand, it seemed like for you and a lot of your tribe, the game was personal at that point. And so it's a little bit different. I didn't have that baseline on how to read you, which is a lot of why I went along with the plan to vote you out when I did. With that being said, I feel like the conversations we did have about the game and the personal elements related to the game at that point were very genuine. I have a lot of really positive feelings towards you.
Okay. I do want you to know that as soon as I had my conversation with you, I went into my confessional and said, I really like Adam. I really hope that he and I can work together. I trust him a lot, and I told him a lot of information. Not sure if that was a good idea or not. So I want you to know that I did feel a very good connection with you, and that you did mention to me that, this was too early in the game to backstab, and to just backstab just for the sake of backstab. And I felt like I had this great conversation with Adam. We had a really good conversation, and then this happened. So I do want to come back to you in a sec on that, but I want to go to Jeff. Jeff, what did you do to earn my vote today?
So I feel like, I had a journey in this game with you, obviously, but I think there were a lot of times that I was oscillating between feeling like you and me were really tight and really could do something together, and then feeling like when it came to external relationships, you were outflanking me a lot of the time, which credit to you for that. But that sort of led me to where I was once I, linked up with Casey and stuff on Edgear, where I didn't think, despite having, a really good connection with you and feeling like you did share quite a bit of stuff with me, although I know you were sharing stuff with other people as well, I didn't feel as if there was going to be like a solid footing where I could really feel comfortable like moving forward with you. I felt like you were ahead of me in a lot of ways. And obviously, like, the merge vote was not dictated by me in any way. But I do think, hopefully there can be some credit given to the fact that after being outflanked by you for the first third of the game, I was able to build back into a position that I was able to be part of 2 separate plans to hopefully get you out once I felt like it wasn't tenable to continue working with you.
Up until the vote where you guys tried to vote out Sebastian, you were my closest ally. I wanted to go to the final 2 with you, and everything that I was doing in the game, every conversation I was having, was the long-term plan was you and me to the end. So anything that I was doing was supposed to be in our best interests. So I think that you kind of you had a very good ally in me. You had a very, very, very good ally in me. I think you just kind of shot yourself in the foot with that. So I would like to come back to you as well in a second. Sam, what did you do to earn my vote this game?
I think that I earned your vote because I know what kind of player you are. We played together at Lumiere, and Butter was kind of a kick-ass take names kind of player. And I watched you do that. I watched you go up against the people that you thought were the biggest threats in that game. And I think that's what I did in this game. I took out the people that I thought weren't going to really benefit me and get me to the end. And I knew that you were going to be one of those people. At first, I really thought that we could work together, and I really wanted us to. And that's why I went on an idol hunt with you for an hour, even though I already had the idol password. I did that because I wanted you to trust me, and I wanted you to know that I was with you. And honestly, I was so with you until the moment that Kyle told me that you told Juliana that I gave you the password. And then I thought that in my mind, that was you trying to subvert my relationships on Joro and put yourself into the position that I was in on Joro, and I couldn't have that. And so in that moment, that was the thing that made me decide to go against you. And the reason I think I earned your vote is because I think that you respect people who are willing to make the moves they need to get to the end. And if that means taking out big players that maybe would work with them or maybe wouldn't, then that's what it takes. And that's unfortunately what I thought I had to do at the time.
Gotcha. I just don't, I felt like so much of my game was to try to play around my preconceived notions of players in the game and how the game was going to work. And I think that a large reason that you and I didn't end up working together was because of your preconceived notions of me. And because of you know me as a person, you thought that this is how Spencer is going to play the game because this is what he's done in the past. Let me take him out. And so much of my game was spent fighting those, voting out people that I had connections with. I had a connection with LeCompte. I had a connection with Casey. I had a connection with Jarrett. And I forget I don't think I went to another tribe before I voted out, but
I think that was something that I definitely thought in this game too, when I voted out Jake and I think that was something that I thought too. And I think that was definitely something that played into my perceptions of our relationship in the game. And that was also something that I had heard from other people too, was that I genuinely forget who it was from, but sometime early in the merge, it was Spencer's looking forward to working with Sam at some point in time, was something that I was told. And so hearing that just made it seem like we were going to be closer than we were when I heard that Janine wanted to target me at the first vote because I was so close to you. I was so buddy-buddy with you. So I think it was honestly not even just what we thought of each other, but what other people assumed us to be.
Which sucks. It sucks to have that happen because I tried to play this game on a very even playing field, and it sucks that courtesy was not given to me by many of these people in this game. I think you were one of those people who did not give me courtesy.
I completely agree.
So I want to circle back over to Adam. Adam, in that first conversation we had, we talked about backstabbing, and we'll do this when it's time. This is the time to make these social connections. I want to know when you felt the need to backstab something, when you felt the need to betray somebody, and did you do it? If so, why? And if you didn't, why did you not feel the need to?
So there are there's one time where I felt like I was actually backstabbing or betraying someone. Mm-hmm. That was the Mari vote. With you, I definitely understand if you felt backstabbed or betrayed. That was not my intent. My intent was simply to live through the vote. That's my intent at every vote, is to live through it, obviously. But when it came to a choice between you or Janine, which is what it was coming down to, that tribal council, I definitely had a much more personal, not game related, but personal connection with Janine. That's my personal preference. But also, I think no one really wanted to be the one to influence that vote until Sam showed up and decided to influence the vote. And I think many people were just okay with that. And I'm definitely one of the people that was just okay with that. I don't feel like I played an active role in selecting you over Janine, but it was certainly would have been my choice. I don't know if that fits the definition of your backstabbing. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about the Mari vote then, if that would answer your question better.
Unfortunately, it wouldn't. I wasn't there. I was very far removed from the game at that point. But okay. It seems as though that, that was something that was hard for you to do, and I can appreciate that. And I'll take that as my answer. Jeff, similar to Adam, I want to go back to one of our first real good strategic conversations that we had. It was about whether there was an Erica vote or whether there was going to be a Chris vote, and I never wanted to leave you out of any vote. I never wanted to undercut you, but people were perceiving you and Erica as a duo because of the way that you two talk to each other. I was trying to do as much as I could to keep our relationship safe while not destroying any relationships I had with everybody else, which I'm sure you can appreciate. And I hope you don't think that's me trying to undercut you.
And that might not have been the best, read on my part.
Sure. But in that conversation you had, you said, I might have been okay.
Spencer, you're getting close to 10 minutes. Please start wrapping up. Thanks.
Okay. You said, one of my main things, I don't want to upset the apple cart. That was a phrase you used quite a lot with me. Did you ever upset the apple cart this game? Or did you just kind of follow behind the apple cart and watch what it did?
So I think structurally, I always saw this game as something that was just based on the way that the dynamics shook out at Merge. I saw this game, especially even before Merge, but especially at Merge, especially, with all the new edgers or all the edgers leaving early, as one big group was probably going to eat another big group. And so my essential goal, and it's part of why losing you was really good for me, was I needed to find a way to integrate into a group where I was going to have better relationships with each person than they had with each other.
But is that upsetting the apple cart?
And
losing me upsetting the apple cart?
Losing you certainly wasn't upsetting the apple cart. I think where I did upset the apple cart was trying to basically, when New Joro was getting ready to steamroll, was doing everything in my power to flip Adam and Sam to sort of not so much upset the apple cart as make a new apple cart that served me better.
So, on the Mickey vote, you didn't want to upset the apple cart so much that you threw your vote. Then on the Kyle vote, Sam upset the apple cart by flipping. Those were two very pivotal votes. Those are three very pivotal votes where nothing bothered you. And if you didn't feel the need to upset the apple cart, and you think that from the point that the merge happened on, that this was the optimal path for you the entire time, that's a fair answer.
And I think that is the case. And the only thing I can point to within that period that I think I upset the apple cart was going after Janine, because I think the girls and me had a pretty certain Final Four, and it was important to me to sort of shake things up to ensure that that wasn't the case, because I don't think I was in great shape in that Final Four.
Okay.
So that I would say generally not a need, but in the need that I felt, it was then, and that's how I went about it.
Okay. I've got nothing else for I'm sure I could have a lot more else, but I'm sure that Molly and Jen would have my neck for it. So thank you for answering my questions. You guys did exactly what I wanted to hear. This was a good conversation, and this has been very illuminating for me. So
thanks, Spencer.
And best of luck.
Okay, am I here?
You're here.
You're here.
Okay. Right, first of all, ignore my face. I have a busted lip. I whacked my face and it was not a fun experience, but ignore that. We're getting into this. First of all, congratulations. I'm so proud of all three of you. I had the honor of playing with all three of you on separate tribes, so I was able to form somewhat of a relationship with each of you. First of all, I just wanted to kind of quickly run by my personal opinions of your games, which will be no offense. And then I will ask you a question. I wanted to start with Adam. Adam, I feel like you played a very solid under the radar game, and I don't need to take offense to the fact that I say under the radar because I appreciate under the radar games. I feel like they're very underestimated within Survivor games. I feel like I never really, whenever jurors came in, I never heard your name come up as an option to go home. I felt like you were solidified end game, regardless of what you did, which, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that tonight as to why that was the case. However, my this game would be there was a lack of individualism. I feel like I felt I struggled to see how your game differentiated from Sam's. I saw, personally, I just saw you both as a duo, and I saw Sam as the one making the moves. Once again, this is not anything the jurors have told me. This is my opinion.
I think it's fair.
So, and I want you to know I'm coming in with an open mind, and I'm so ready to listen to all of your answers tonight and ready to change that perception if need be. Jeff, I feel like we got along really well on Marnie, and then when we made the merge, I was very excited to see you there. I felt like after my blind side, you had a very solid navigation in the game. After we were both in quite a tricky spot, we didn't really know where to approach the game. We didn't know which side to go with, and it took me out of the game for doing that. So I feel like you navigated it well, but my disregard to your game is just I feel like there was a complete lack of ownership. Whenever jurors came in, there was never a Jeff print in the game. There was never Jeff did this, Jeff did that. I felt like the superlative game where you were the most forgotten, it kind of came in hand throughout the game. But I didn't forget you as a player, but I didn't feel like Jeff made this move. He made that move himself. He did that. I just felt like there wasn't your stamp on the game. And that was where my struggle was with seeing your game. However, that being said, I'm looking for a disadvantage to each of your games, and that was I still think you played a very solid game. Samantha, that knife hurt in my back, Sam, very bad, but I'm not bitter. I will note that as soon as I joined the Ponderosa chat, I said if Sam makes it to the end, she has my vote to win. And do not fret, Jeff and Adam. I am coming in with an open mind now. That was my initial thought. I think, Sam, you played amazingly. I think you played a great game. I felt very close to you on New Joro. When I was making these moves, I obviously was not aware of your relationship with Caitlin at this time, but I was trying to free you from that Joro. I was like, come on, Sam, you come and work with me. And I felt a late game situation.
Is he cutting out for you guys too?
I would have loved to.
Yeah, you're cutting out a bit, Mickey.
Well,
oh.
No.
All right, 1 second. Let me see if you can rejoin.
I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna cry again. I have to hear the knife in my back. Oh my god, that was the worst. That was the worst.
Okay. Anyways, pretend that didn't happen. I think I was saying about Sam. I wanted to go I wanted to play the game with you merge wise. And a good move. in taking me out.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second, guys. He's gonna rejoin again. He's just not gonna be on camera. Fingers crossed. Might make it easier. That isn't gonna get any easier though. Is that your house, Trent? With the cars?
What?
The cars? Is that at your house?
Yeah.
I'm on mute. It's not me.
It's always loud on my street. Especially when my window is like facing the street, the main road. Mickey, we miss you. I haven't gotten to talk to you in like 2 weeks.
I miss Mickey so much. Mickey's my favorite person alive.
Okay, okay, God.
Hello.
Right. I'm going to use my... hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's way better
I'm
now.
back. I'm sorry, Prod. I'm using my data. Okay, Sam, I'm gonna quickly rush through because I don't want to waste time now. Sam, I wanted to play with you in the game, like late game. I wanted to go into the game with you, but I completely understand the move you made in hindsight. You know, I feel like we had a really strong relationship together. The calls we had, I hope they were genuine because I really like you as a person. I really hope they were genuine. But yeah, I love getting to know you, and I feel like you played a very solid game. However, my only disadvantage I'd say to your game was that I feel like you were very brutal with your disloyalties. I'm not someone who takes personal offense to it. I'm very respect the game, but I feel like a lot of people came in, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of specific people because they'll have their turn, but I feel like a lot of people came in saying Sam burnt me bad. And I feel like maybe that is a lack of jury management, but that's I'm not sure. But it didn't bother me personally because I went into the jury saying Sam's playing amazing. Like I said, my vote is still up in the air. I'm rushing now because of my terrible Wi-Fi. But my question to all of you, just briefly, is who at the beginning of the merge, who was your ideal final three and why, and how did that change? I'll start with you, Adam.
My ideal final three at the beginning of the merge, after I had gotten a chance to talk to everyone, would probably be the people that I felt the closest to on a personal level. It probably would have included two of Sam, Jeff, or Janine. I had the strongest personal connections to those people. And if you made me pick now, it's probably Sam and Jeff.
Okay, Jeff?
I feel like, and this isn't just hedging, I really truly didn't have an ideal final three at the merge because and we were in the same spot, Mickey. I didn't have much of a direction, but it either was going to be, in my opinion, some combination of Spencer and Juliana or some combination of Marissa, Mari, and Janine. And I didn't know where that was going to stand yet. And then after I talked with people and found out basically the Joros were going to do what they were going to do, and Adam and Sam were my path to getting out of that, I felt like at that point, Adam and Sam became potential ideal final three people. Although it was, I still was very much up in the air between going to the end with Marissa or Sam up until when I voted out Marissa.
For me, I think right
basically the entire game, like I knew I wanted to go to the end with Adam if it was possible for me, because Adam was my closest ally, and I knew that we were never going to betray each other unless that brief new Joro period where I thought I was going to have to because everyone wanted to vote him out. But so Adam was always in my final end game. There goes Mickey. I'll finish the question just for everybody else that's watching.
We're
typing it to him.
Keep finishing.
Oh, thanks. Okay. And then I would say my other one was probably, I mean, after a couple of votes, like once I chose Jeff over Mickey, I would say that Jeff became my ideal third in my final three because of how close I knew our relationship was. But I don't think I really had an ideal final three up until that point. I knew that I couldn't go to the finals with anyone on Joro, specifically Sebastian, Juliana, or Kyle, just because I knew that like they would always choose each other over me, and so I wouldn't have made it here in the long run. So I think that after a couple of votes, like this was my ideal final three. And by the way, I did peg the final five in one of my confessionals. I nailed it, which was fun, and that was pretty early, but that was just something that none of you will ever see. Okay, I'm done.
All right, and so Mickey, we typed out that to Mickey, so he does have your answers. Don't worry, Molly was writing it down as you guys were talking. And now we have our third juror, Kyle.
Hey guys.
Hi, Kyle.
Congrats on all three of you for making it here. I'll just go one by one, just asking my questions. So I'm going to go in a different order since everyone went in a pretty similar order, and I'm going to start with Jeff. So I don't really fault you for this. We never really were on the same wavelength. We barely ever talked. I mean, we were only in the game together for 3 rounds, so I can't fault you too much for that. So my question is kind of more generic for you, which is just if there's any one thing, like completely vague, like it could be allying with somebody or making a specific move, what do you think got you here? What one thing do you think got you here?
I think the one thing that got me here was sort of in the realm of the 9 through 7 votes, convincing Adam, Sam, Marissa, Mari, and Janine all that at Final 6 we were going to be good. And that wasn't going to be true for everybody. And I think collectively, more of them felt good with me than anybody. And I think that's why I ended up here. It's because I was able to choose my path through the end game. Also, in terms of not talking to you, it was mutual. It's the way that things go.
Yeah.
You know, no hard feelings either direction.
All right. So, Adam, my question for you is that I know communication is a two-way street, so I'm partly to blame here, but we played the whole game together, and it was almost a joke that we never talked. Like, I would make jokes about it. Was there any strategy to that? Because on OG Joro, we had, I believe, 0 calls.
Yeah, that's a big regret of mine. On OG Joro, we had a brief amount of time on the tribe call when we were the only 2 people there, and that was it. On New Joro, I really wish I had more time and energy to talk to people, and that goes for just about everyone on that tribe. And it's a miracle I made it through that just because of how inactive I was. So I mean, I take responsibility for that. On original Joro, I really wish I could have gotten to talk to you more. I really do. And it didn't happen that much. I'm sorry.
And then Sam, knife number 2. My only question for you is why me at 9 specifically?
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time, and I've never looked forward to it. Basically, after Touchy Subjects, I thought I was dead. I told you I thought I was dead. I told everyone in the game I thought I was dead because I got every single superlative that I thought you deserved because you were running the game just as much as I was. And you were more alliances than I was. You were way closer to the New Agio girls at that time. And basically I knew that one of us was going to have to fall. Like it was very clear in my mind. And when I thought about it and thought about the relationships on Joro, I knew Juliana was choosing you. I knew Sebastian was choosing you. And I had Adam, right? Adam, I think, would have chose me between the 2 of us just because I knew your relationship. I also knew that you would have had more power in the game over, because when it came down to you or Juliana, right? You or Juliana. And I knew that Juliana had a pretty like dead relationship with all the new Ajir girls, and I didn't think they would be as willing to work with her because she burned them in the past. You had too many open avenues. So when it came down to them asking me whether they thought we should vote out Kyle, whether we should vote out you or vote out Juliana, I chose you because I knew that if you stayed in the game after I burned you that fiercely by voting out Juliana and not telling you, my game would have been over swiftly after. Because you still would have had Sebastian in your corner, and you still would have you had the opportunity to convince the new Ajir girls to flip on me too. And I needed to make sure that I had their loyalties, because basically I needed to keep them in the games. That way, eventually they would turn on each other, and I would make it here. I know this is like, I feel like this is a cop out of me saying it, but like you were like the best strategic counterpart partner. Like I knew how good you were at this game, and I knew that the longer you stayed in, the less likely chance I would have to be here.
All right. Again, congrats to all three of you. I'm keeping an open mind, but my vote's pretty made up. But good luck. Finish the question strong. You got a while to go.
Knife number 2. Jesus. I hate myself.
All right, guys, we are just waiting on our 4th juror to join, and then I will add him to the call.
Hello? Sorry, I was having technical difficulties. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations to all 3 of you. All 3 of you definitely deserve to be here. I think all 3 of you had very, very different journeys, which is always a lot of fun. Like as a viewer and a fan of these shows, like just playing and seeing how each 3 of you played differently. So I came in here with obvious preferences. I know every juror is coming in with a fake can, like, my vote's up in the air. I mean, let's be realistic. That's not necessarily the case. However, my preferences have certainly shifted over the other jurors' questions. So I guess my first thing is I'm going to start with you, Jeff. So I came into the jury, and I was mean to all of you in the jury. I was trying to have as much fun as possible, but Jeff, I was definitely, I'll be blunt, I was pretty much the most vocal Jeff fan in the jury, because even though you never gave me a chance strategically to really work with you, I did really enjoy our conversations, but just hearing some of your answers tonight just shows me how terrible your read was on certain people. Like you said, I had you clocked from day one. I was literally throwing myself at you from day one because I thought we had such a strong personal connection to work with each other. I gave you so much information. I'm not done, sorry. I'm gonna get it all out on one, and then I'm gonna have you answer, and then I'm gonna go to the other people. So you never gave me a chance really strategically, which I came to terms with, but I still really enjoyed talking to you, which is why you're probably the person, besides maybe like Janine, Juliana, and Kyle, that I've talked to the most in this game. So seeing you in the finals, I was excited. I'm like, okay, someone that I felt really strong about personally is here. But I guess it's disheartening to hear that I was never really given a chance to you at all, and that, you know, really makes me question the personal connection I thought I had with you. And then especially hearing some of this stuff that the jurors were coming and saying that you had said about me. Like, obviously, when I played my idol and I was about to be blindsided on New Ajir, you got no brunt of it. I threw everything onto Janine and Marissa's plates, and you kind of got sat in the background because I was like, oh, Jeff's in this situation. But obviously the case is you were much more involved with that than you want to admit. And then the whole fiasco that was touchy subjects, which me and Sam got the brunt of, and Sam clearly handled it a lot better than I did. And I confronted you about it, and then you stopped talking to a lot of people in the game because of how you said I came at you, and I felt really bad about that. And we had what I perceived as an extremely nice conversation. Like, we talked a lot, like pretty much for 24 hours straight. You were the person I talked to most because I felt terrible that I made you feel so bad, because I was never...
I appreciated that like so much, and I know you're still going. It meant a lot to me.
By the way, I'm apparently yelling because my boyfriend just texted me saying, why are you yelling? So I thought we were on good terms. I thought things were good. However, I then heard that you, in like whatever alliance chat it was, basically saying that you wanted me gone for your own mental health because of how just terrible I treated you, which is very fake to me because it goes completely contrary to what me and you had discussed. So I really wanted to come in here wanting to vote for you because the other two, spoiler alert, Adam, I don't think your game was strong. Spoiler alert, Sam, me and you just never had a bond or connection. So I really wanted to come in here voting for Jeff, but you've made it very, very difficult for me to actually want to actively vote for you. So why should I vote for you?
Okay, and just to touch on a couple of the points, I always felt good about, our personal connection, and I did say, that I wanted you gone, just where I was at mentally and at Final 9, because that was during the time period that and again, it means the world to me, the conversations that we had, later on about, everything and about you, you really renewed everything personally and made me feel really good, and it meant everything. And any comments that I made like that were in the prior term, when in the 24 hours that I shut out like half of the game because I was just like a mess, like psychologically, and only was talking to like the few people I trusted. And I had like an embarrassingly weepy call with Sam that I'll during that time. And it's just, I was a real mess. And I don't think that was fair to you on a strategic level. And in terms of you feeling, as if what I said in my comments about like you had me clocked, like that's not what it was at all. And I think that's part of the reason that I was comfortable targeting Spencer, was that I originally had felt like you were the biggest threat, but then I just wanted to keep, playing with you because what we were building on New Edge here really was real. And I don't want you to doubt that just because you ended up being the target in that situation. It's just on a personal level, everything was real with me, and I regret some of what I said at Final 9, but at Final 8, when I actually voted you out, none of that was being said then, and I just want to assure that. But in terms of why I think, if your intention is to vote for me based on what we built together personally, on a strategic level, I really was open, and then the chips started falling where they did. And the way that I've been playing this game is just trying to get into things and sort of let my personal relationships dictate which groups form around me. And that not ending up with you wasn't because I had anything out against you or anything like that. I just want to make that perfectly clear. And I said what I did at Final 9, and I will own that shit 100%. But, in the round that I actually voted you out, it was a purely, strategic call, and was sort of pushing toward the end game that I talked about with getting to the final 6 and then making a move against Janine. And just, I want to reiterate, on a personal level, the conversations that we had once I was able to come back to you and actually talk to you really meant so much to me. And all of our personal relationship meant so much to me. And I think part of why I was so hurt in that situation and panicked so much was because everything that we talked about personally was really like deep and meant a lot, and stuff I don't talk to a lot of people about. And just having specific triggering things happen after that was just really rough on me. And that's, I think, why the things I said at Final 9 came out. And it's not something I really appreciate about myself. I don't like that I lash out when I feel hurt in that way, which, of course, I think you can understand with what has happened. But just to give you strategic reason as to why I believe that you should vote for me.
I'm going to cut you off there because I really need my 10 minutes. You have nothing to prove to me strategically. I think the one and only move that you made was not getting to the finals with Mari and Adam, but I'm willing to overlook that and still potentially vote for you. Sorry to cut you off.
No, understand.
I need my 10 minutes, but I do just want to compliment you going into the jury. A lot of us had a lot of issues with you being mopey and, always seeming like someone shot your cat at tribal council. You've been very strong throughout this and explained your strategy perfectly. So I commend you for that. Okay, on to, I'll go on to Sam next. Sam, you were probably the person I least wanted to vote for going into Final Tribal Council, but after thinking about it, I've never had anything negative to say about your game. I think you've played an incredible game. When you voted off Kyle at Final 9, I was like, she did this way too damn early. Clearly you didn't. Clearly you did not. So you did a great strategic game. My main issue was I just felt like a lot of our interactions were very forced and fake on both ends. There were little glimmers here and there where I thought me and you really connected, especially after touchy subjects. Like that was just where I was like, okay, me and Sam are we're screwed here, but no, it was Sam that was screwed. Sam was fine. Sam was golden. But one of the things that really is making me not want to vote for you, it's something that happened very, very early in the game. And it's, I brought it up a couple times where I didn't feel like you took the time to actually try to get to know me. And this came from you approaching Kyle and asking Kyle about me, so you knew how to cater your conversation to me. And that always really, really, really rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like, I'm right here, ask me about me. But I really think you played an amazing game. And as fake as I thought you were to me, fakeness is a two-way street. I was just as fake to you as you were to me. So that's really hard for me to hold against you and not want to vote for you for that reason. And like, obviously you have to understand that the situations were reversed. You were on the jury and I was there. I know you'd have a hard time trying to find reasons to vote for me as well, but I think you played an incredible game. And I guess my question to you is, why should I vote for you?
First of all, I totally did that. I totally asked Kyle about how to talk to you because I just knew that we were really we just weren't, that's something that I really pride myself on, is my ability to have like genuine conversations with people. And I think that I did that a lot in this game, and it just never really happened with us. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how do I talk to him? And so I asked Kyle because I trusted him at the time, and I can totally see how that comes off as fake. And I want you to know it was from a place of positive intent. Like, how do I connect with him? You know, because Kyle had such high things to say about you all of Joro. And I was just like, we're not talking, you know? And so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that came off in that way. And that was the impact of what I did, because that's not what I intended. And I want you to know that the conversation we had after Touchy Subjects too, like all of that was so genuine and real. Like I truly was like in such a horrible place at that point in time, because I was just like, I am so in the ground. And I want you to know, like, the reason that I turned around and obviously I voted out Kyle at Final 9 and then voted out you right after. And the reason that I did that, especially after you said I want to work with you, let's get out of this together. And I believed that you meant those things. I genuinely did. But at that point in time, I felt like it was almost too late for us, just because at that point I had made my decision, right? Like I had flipped, I had done the thing, and I wanted to continue to prove my allegiance and my loyalty to both Mari and Jeff, because I knew those were two relationships that could really skyrocket me to the end. And so at that point it was like, I can go and I can, pick up Sebastian. We can be this close, we're fucked together, duo. Or I can continue to build the trust that I may already, have a foundation for with Mari and Jeff. And that's ultimately what I chose, because I thought it was a better long-term plan for me. And so I just kind of wanted to explain why that was for me, why I thought that was the better move.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Because you were never making the finals if it was my decision. I don't blame you at all. You were never in my final 3 plans. It was, oh, I'm getting a timer.
We're getting close to 10. Just wrap it up quickly, okay?
Okay, I'll wrap it up quickly. But zero grudges against you for voting me off, because you were never anywhere near my end game. So no hard feelings about that.
Okay.
And then Adam. Adam, I do like you on a personal level. Clearly, I think that I liked you more than you liked me. I tried very, very hard to separate my closeness with you and Caitlin on New Ajir, because I knew coming into the merge, you were someone that I really wanted to work with, especially after Caitlin got voted off. So I really pushed the agenda of Adam and Caitlin are running things. I'm so glad Caitlin's gone, blah, 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 blah. But I feel that was more of a one-way street, judging by kind of what happened, especially my vote off. I was probably most hurt by you, because I felt that you had very little reason to vote me off, and it just made me really question a lot of stuff that had happened. And I really don't, you described your game in your opening speech as different. It is very different from the other two, because it's quite clear that you were taken very, very far by Sam. And I think that you've admitted that in a roundabout way in all of your answers. The thing with you is, I do think that you have a very good mix of talking to people personally and being analytical. And I think that you had a lot of potential to be in a position to where you could win this game. And so why should I vote for you? I'll give all 3 of you the same question.
I just want to say to you that the personal connection that I felt towards you was genuine, and I really, really liked you. And it was something at Final 8 when you got voted out. I fought very hard with Sam specifically. Once I learned that there was a split vote, I said some words to Sam about let's take 4 votes, let's put them on Marissa, and let's just not do this. And she was not hearing it, so it didn't happen, and I did not like that. That's the way I felt about it, and I really I don't want you to think that I didn't like you. That is definitely not the case. I've said many strong positive words about you to other people. That plan didn't go through. In terms of why to vote for me to win, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I have like all these strategic points in the course of the game that I have over Sam. Like it's definitely part of what I want, to take someone who is strong strategically and let them lead strategically, and let me be the one to make personal connections to not die, but then also use those personal connections to maybe win the game. I don't know that if I had an real opportunity to vote Sam out until now, and I wish I did, I guess, apparently, because then maybe I'd have a stronger chance of winning, but that's not how it happened.
All right. That's not a good answer, because there's plenty of opportunities to vote out Sam for everybody. But I understand. I appreciate that. There were opportunities, because at Final 8 I was pushing Sam hardcore to go, but no one wanted to listen to it. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this off, even if I was a little harsh, because I clearly come across meaner than I anticipate. I am seriously proud of all 3 of you. All 3 of you really, really deserve to be there, and whoever wins tonight, you deserve to win. And you 3 did what none of us could do, and you're sitting there. So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Sebastian.
All right, we're just waiting on our next juror to join us. So once she does, I will add her to the call.
I'm not prepared. I am truly not prepared.
I'm ready.
Oh, I heard so ready. For the fire spot that is here.
Your queen incoming right now.
I love her. She's so great. Look at good.
Is it good?
Your queen incoming right now.
I love her. She's so great.
Can you hear me?
Look at good.
Maybe your queen incoming right now.
I love her. She's so great.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Look at good.
Maybe your queen incoming.
I think she had the YouTube stream up. And then
You very much did, I think.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're good now.
First, I want to say congratulations to the 3 of you. You guys did what we couldn't, so that's impressive. There's no surprise I left this game very explosively, angry at both Sam and at Jeff. Jeff, being the only vote against you, I'm very proud, not gonna lie. And Sam, obviously I didn't mess up your game at that point when I was blowing up at you. I messed up Marissa's and Janine's, so that was good strategy on your part. So I want to start with Jeff. We never worked together at all throughout this game. I don't know your personal relationships. Obviously, you had strong ones with Adam and Sam. And some of your end game decisions do confuse me, with taking Sam over Mari and not putting your relationships behind you guys, just trying to like win the game. So I want to know, what was your biggest mistake in this game, and how would you correct it now, knowing how everything played out?
I think ultimately, and you just spoke to it, if I'm going to lose this game, it's probably because I underestimated myself with the final 4, because basically I made a defensive move, and I was always going to target Adam or Mari at 5 to leave Sam and Marissa against each other at 4. And maybe I should have just believed in myself that I could keep myself safe or win final immunity, and voted out Sam there, because I do think your suggestion that Adam and Mari is a stronger final 3 for me is probably the case. And so I guess that ultimately is my mistake, is I didn't trust myself to survive final 4, so I kept Sam in the game to ensure that I would get here.
Thank you. Now I'm going to go with Adam. So I thought we had a great personal relationship, but then when we got to your questions, you said that you had the stronger relationships with Jeff, Sam, and with Janine. So why should I vote for you if the only reason for me voting for you was really going to be that personal relationship that we could have, that I thought we'd have?
I did. Those were the 3 strongest personal relationships I had. That does not mean that I didn't have a strong personal relationship with you. I really enjoyed talking to you, especially after the merge. It was a lovely, healthy mix of personal and game conversation, and I really did enjoy that. It was much less personal than the other relationships that I mentioned, and at the point where you were voted out, it was still very personal for me. In fact, it was personal all the way up until I think Final Four, and that's just sort of consistent with how I've played the game. I don't know that if you want to be the person who is closest to me, and I can't tell that you are, but I really do think highly of you, and I really like talking to you.
Cool. So now to Sam. There's no surprise that I think I was the most bitter against you for my vote out, because you probably were the only one who could have decided against it. And you gave me so much hope. And I think without that hope, I would have pushed harder to Marissa or Janine to keep me as a meat shield. You put yourself in a spot that relied on people acting out of their best interest when you voted out Kyle. However, they did act out of their best interest. So it was the best move for you because of the relationship you made with Jeff, and you got him to vote out Mari over you. So I think you did make the right calls. But besides that, what move did you, besides your relationships, what move did you make during my vote out that got you in the final 3 and proves you should get my jury vote? Because I thought we connected well, but then you gave me so much hope. So I understand the Mari and Jeff relationships and just keeping those. But why did you give me so much hope, and why should you still get my jury vote?
So part of me thinks that that's my biggest regret of the game, is not telling you and Adam sooner about the decision I was going to make. I knew that I was not going to keep you at Final 7. I was not going to play the Gustineer advantage on Janine and kick her out of Tribal and force rocks and force Jeff to flip. And the reason I did that is because I needed to keep Mari and Jeff's trust, like you said. And so I also—
Please check your production chat. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry. I also knew at that point in time too that you were looking for any reason to stay in the game, just because I'm the firestorm that you are when you were leaving. And so part of me regrets that decision, because I think it really put me and Adam's relationship at a really bad crossroads. And Adam and I almost did not end this game together. But part of me also really made that decision because I know that you are a firestorm of a player, and that you speak your mind, and that's who you are. And I love that about you. And I knew that the second that I told you I wasn't going to vote Marissa at that vote, that you would start pushing even harder. And throughout the whole day, I got messages like, why isn't Juliana pushing harder? She knows she's going, all this stuff, right? And I knew it was because I had told you and Adam previously that I was going to vote out Marissa. And so you thought you had a plan there. And the second that I told you that I wasn't going to do that, you were going to start pushing harder for either me or someone else to go home. And that wasn't part of my plan. So ultimately, I 100% regret that 10-minute span where I gave you the hope that I was going to flip back. And I genuinely, I meant it in that moment. I really thought that I was going to vote for Marissa. I really thought I was. But ultimately, I had to go back to the fact that I needed to get further in the game despite our personal relationship. And I had to put those game relationships, and I mean the personal relationships I had with Jeff and Mari first in that case, is why I made the decision that I made. And if that means that I earned your jury vote, and I completely understand being bitter against me because it was a really shitty thing to do to give you that 10 minutes of hope, and I own that, and that I shouldn't have done it. I should have just told you that I was going to vote for you and not said I was going to change my mind. And that's something I can't take back, but it is something I should not have done in that moment. But I don't regret telling you as late as I did.
I think it's okay, because there are reasons for me to be bitter against Jeff as well, and Adam, I guess. I think that with you guys being the final 3, it was Sam's best move, because she played a better game than both of you guys, I feel like. And I was bitter against Jeff as well, so because he gave me hope as well. So sitting next to Jeff was pretty good for you. Thank you guys for answering all my questions. I came in very open, but I think I know who I'm gonna vote for. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Juliana.
Okay, next up we have our sixth juror, Janine.
Hi guys. So I wrote a bunch of stuff down, so I'm gonna keep looking at it because my anxiety is really high right now. My heart's beating, so I just want to make sure I get everything out. I don't have any questions for you guys because my mind is made up. I feel like I am known as a really nice person, and that's gotten me nowhere. So I'm not gonna be nice. Sorry, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys why I'm not voting for the two people I'm not voting for. And then I'm going to try to convince my fellow juror members to vote with me here because I feel very strongly. And that's it. So, Jeff, I know you and Sebastian kind of just talked about having each other clocked, but I had you clocked from day one. My very first confessional, I said, Jeff is smart. He will always be one step ahead of me. I need to keep my eye out for him. But then what had happened was I forgot you were playing. True to your superlative. I get that under the radar games get you far. Clearly you're here. So I can't even say that I can't speak anything against it. I just don't respect it. I think that it's lazy. I think that it's boring. And I think that you hid behind a bunch of people. You were chilling in a hammock at the beach while everybody else was playing the game. And then you decided to wake up one day and say, hey, I have an idol. And that's that's what really gets me because I would have been championing for you this entire time. I would have been pro Monty. I love Jeff. Everybody loves Jeff. But there was no need for you to play that idol. That was a really dumb move. You protected Sam, who got no votes, and stabbed me in the back by turning against me on 6. And then just playing the idol was a complete twist of the knife. That hurt my feelings. I think that was a low blow. And I don't think that we should be rewarding malice or anything like that in this game because it was just extra. And Marissa kind of told me what your thought process was and she tried to talk you out of it, but that was just, I don't know. I don't know why you would have played it on Sam, who's about to beat you here. It wasn't a good move. I don't know why you did it, but I just felt it was very snaky. And that brings me to Sam, who I would call a snake charmer. I feel like Jeff was a snake and you were just charming him this whole time. And kudos to you. You are so charismatic. Everybody loves you. Your superlatives were true too. You're probably going to win. And I'll be so happy because everybody knows that I'm so pro women, but I'm not going to vote for you. I think for the same reason why I'm not voting for Jeff is you made a lot of low blows. Were they big moves? Yes. But they were unnecessarily just dirty. And I know that some people respect that, but I personally don't. I feel this whole game, I've been trying to be a good person and promote good behavior and just not you don't need to play this game and hurt people and step over step on dead bodies. You can step over them and be respectful and still get far. And I was really gonna vote for you also, Sam, until, and nobody else is going to get this but me and you and the tribal where I left, you sat next to Fernando. I felt that was very intentional, and I felt that was,
oh my God, it was not.
It doesn't, the intention doesn't matter to me. It was just more so this is how you're perceived. My perception of it was you knew I was leaving there. You sat next to Fernando knowing that was the one thing we connected over. And it just seemed very bullyish. And it really, again, it hurt my feelings. And I am so pro separating real life from the game. I don't think anything that in this that was done in this game, Jeff, I know that you are an amazing person and you come from an incredible family, and nothing you do here, I think, is a reflection of who you are as people. However, I was personally hurt in these games knowing that I don't take things personally in these games because it's a game. But I just felt you guys it was just little things that didn't need to be done that hurt my feelings. So I'm not voting for you guys. And by process of elimination, I would like to support Adam here. I think that nobody is giving him the credit that he deserves. Okay. Adam played smart. Maybe he didn't make any big flashy moves, but he's here. And he's here because he was loyal to Sam. He's here because he made genuine connections and nobody wanted to target him because everybody liked Adam. Okay. He played smart. He played hard. He's won challenges. He's balanced playing these games like with his diagnosis while being an amazing husband, while being a father. Okay. Like I'm one of the few people who can attest like how hard it is to play these games while balancing all of that. Okay. So he's played smart, he's played hard, and he's played with his heart. Okay. He has been vulnerable. He has been a genuine human being. Nobody on this jury can say that Adam has hurt their feelings. Nobody can say that they felt like Adam like did anything to them negatively. You know, like maybe they weren't so close. Maybe they don't think he like is a contender here, but he absolutely is. Okay. Fuck, where was I? Yeah, I'm just. Oh, but more importantly, like Adam played a game where if your son Parker were old enough to watch this and understand what's going on, he would be so proud of you because he would be able to see his dad not be mean to anybody. Okay, and he would see, and like, I know that you said you don't want your diagnosis to affect anything, and like, I just want to encourage my jurors to like, don't count Adam out just because we don't want him to win because of like what happened, and you don't want to do that. Like, if anything, like he has played this game like just incredibly, and in my eyes, Adam, like you have my vote, and like to my jurors, please don't make this a popularity contest. Okay, we all know we love Sam. Sam's an incredible human being, like prom queen. Okay, like I think you're great, but like I don't want this to be about popularity. I want this game to mean something. I want this season to stand for something, and I just please, jurors, if you're listening to me, like, do we want to vote for Sam and have like us promoting like villainous and like just like viciousness and like all of that, or do we want to support Adam, who has been a light, who has fought and survived and like outwitted, outlasted, outstrength, like all that? Like it's Adam. Adam is who I believe is the best representation for our season, and I don't think that anybody's giving him the credit that he deserves. And that's everything. I love you all. I know that I probably felt like I was being meaner than I actually was, and like I do apologize, but like that's my truth. That's where I stand. And if you guys want to say anything now, because I don't think it was 10 minutes left, like my heart and my ears and my mind are all open. But I'm still voting for Adam.
All I want to say is I completely understand your rationale and I respect it and I love you. And I'm sorry I did what I did. But that is the way I operated in the game. And I think we both know who we are as people outside of this. And I respect the way that you're treating the game 100%.
I retweet. I am genuinely so sorry that I didn't even put together that I did tribal council there. My roommate just got home from the headphones. I'm really sorry that that was something that I didn't even put together and I could have. And I'm sorry that that was impact of my actions. And that was honestly really shitty. And I think literally the world of you. Literally, I feel like you are 99% of what Jeff and I have talked about since you left the game, and how much we just absolutely adore you. And that does not change from this. And I appreciate and love you regardless. And I'm genuinely sorry for the impact that my actions had.
Thank you, Janine. It means a lot.
Love you.
I love
and
you.
Congrats again. It's incredible that you're all here. And I can't wait to talk to you, not in this setting. We can all just like be actual friends. All right, bye.
Wow, that was like the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mari.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so last time I saw you guys, I told two of you guys to fuck yourselves. So, just want to say, no hard feelings, everyone. I understand it was a good move. Totally get it. I don't hate Adam or Jeff. I do want to say that. I did feel bad after telling you guys to fuck off. I was voted off, so I think it was okay. I do want to go into Adam, though, and ask you, personally, my vote is a lot based on game and how I think that in the final three, there's somebody that played an outstanding game that is unmatchable to other people's. And I think that I really respect playing like a hard game and coming in and doing and being such a big threat and making it all the way to the end. So I do want to ask you, like, what is one move that like you led and like had a big part in?
I think that it's actually the move that voted you out. It is definitely not consistent with the rest of my game, the way that I handled your vote out, and I deserved what you said to me in the moment, and obviously no hard feelings. But a lot of points in the game, you know, if you play the way I do, you're not going to find yourself in those power positions of being the swing vote, unless you are lucky or you just happen to find yourself there. Along with Jeff, and Jeff had explained in his opening statement, it was important to me to keep both Sam and Marissa in the game. I had felt vulnerable at every vote, and I continued to feel vulnerable, and I wanted to make sure that I got to 3 from 4 by keeping 2 visible threats in the game. I think if Marissa didn't win immunity, it might have been her at that point, but I don't know if that would have happened. I do know that I did have the chance to vote out Sam there, and I chose not to do it. And Jeff and I did have a couple of conversations. I know I told you that I was going to vote out Sam. I know I told Marissa I was going to vote out Sam. And when I told you both that, I knew I didn't intend to do that. It's the dirtiest I felt in the entire game.
Okay. I also want to say that, like, I feel like it was final five, you know, there's no need to lie anymore. And that's also my thing with, like, both you and Jeff. I think because Jeff, I came to you and I, like, talked to you about the vote. And, like, when Marissa came to jury, like, she told me that you said that you were upset because I told you to fuck off and, like, all this other stuff. When I came to you about the vote, you know, like, you ghosted me. Like, so did Adam, basically.
I'm genuinely want to know, like, when you came to me with the vote, because
I
like
literally went into the chat and said, "So what is the vote?" And you did not say anything to me. And like that is my whole thing, because I did come and I did ask you about it and you didn't say anything to me, you know? And like that's my thing. And same with Adam. I just feel like you both like played kind of a lazy game when it comes down to it. And like that's where I'm at with it.
And if I may, in terms of like why I handled that the way I did, and I don't think I handled it the best, because I could have just been upfront and been like, "Hey, I'm going to vote you out. And this is why," and I can own that, and I apologize. And the reason I handled it that way is both Marissa and Sam coming to me and telling me about the final 3 that you were trying to push, that you were going to go Adam here, and then it would have been me at 4. And at that point, I knew because I wanted to vote Adam out at 5. But I didn't hear anything from you about a vote until 5 minutes before, and I regret not responding because that's stupid of me. But an Adam vote is what I would have wanted to do, and you were pushing that to people that weren't me. And when that option was off the table, because it wasn't approached, and I knew that you were likely voting for me at 4 no matter what at that point, I felt like I had to make a move against you. And I fully respect that I didn't talk to you. And at Final 5, there's no point in that, and I apologize.
Okay.
For me, the reason I did it, I'm not going to say it's a great reason, because obviously the way it made you feel was felt unnecessary. I felt vulnerable at that vote. My name had been written down twice the previous one, and I believe that you were one of the people who did it. So I know people had told me, you know, oh, well, I'm going to vote for Mari, or I'm going to vote for Sam this vote. But there was always the doubt in the back of my mind that it could have been me that time, and I really didn't want it to be me. So I defaulted to that thing that I absolutely hate, is just agreeing with people and coming up with plans that aren't me to absolutely everyone. And that's the dirtiest I felt the whole game.
Okay. I don't have a lot of questions. I feel like I came in having a lot of questions, but everybody asked them already, so that's okay. My vote is pretty much on lock. I think everybody knows who I'm voting for tonight. I've been very vocal about it. Sam, I respect the hell of you. I think that you've played probably the strongest game I've ever seen anybody play. And the fact that you made the end is incredible. And I think that if you don't win tonight, it's going to be a big robbery. So that's what I will say.
So much.
Good luck to the rest of you guys. Bye.
All right, we are just waiting for our next juror to join the call, and if it does, we'll add her to the show.
Scared.
She's not gonna be mad at you.
She's probably gonna be mad at you. She's gonna be mad at everybody. She's great. We love her. We love her so much. We told her we loved her so much. We told her we loved her so much. Time do I go to work? I have to go to work after this. Yay. I haven't eaten yet today. I was too scared. Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So like Janine, my nerves are also a little high right now, so I just have some things written down. First of all, congratulations to you three. It's no small feat to make it to the final three. I only have a question for one person, and they probably know who they are. So I'll start by just addressing the other two, and that's no disrespect to the other two, but just I feel like I've heard a lot of things at this point, and there's not a need for me to bring up things that have already been brought up. First of all, Adam, I have a lot of respect for you. I think you're a great dad and family member, and I really did enjoy our conversations. And Sam, I have a lot of respect for you on both a personal, social, and strategic level. So that just brings me to my man, Jeff. So I just have a brief statement, and then there's going to be a question at the end. So obviously an important part of the game is like building buddy relationships with people to get them to trust you and want to work with you. That's an important part of the game. But I think you can also take it too far. And I think some survivors in Real Survivor have done that. You've made it very clear, and others have made it very clear to me since I've left the game, and I'm obviously still very fresh out of the game too, very much processing things. You made it clear and others made it clear that Casey was your number one on New Edgier, and then at Merge, Sam and Adam sort of became your secret number one allies. And I also just want to take a detour to actually commend Adam for that, because he was the first and only person to be like fully transparent with me about what had been going on over my head the entire time. So thank you, Adam. You have my respect for that. Other people handled it differently. And so my question, or I guess to continue my statement, Jeff, why go the extra mile and pretend like you and I were best buddies and you couldn't wait for us to be friends outside of the game, and us exchanging all these personal stories and me telling you that I was there for you if you wanted to talk amid your mental panic over the Sebastian thing. And meanwhile, I find out that you were really just talking to your true number one, Sam. And crying to me on call over voting me out, whereas Adam just told me the truth, and you just cried to me as though I was supposed to console you when I was the one going home that night. So my feeling when I'm the most recent juror especially is that you just piled on all of these emotions and all of this like fake friendship stuff to me, and I was genuine with you the whole time. I told you the Merge idol password as soon as I found it. You were the first person I told, and I was ready to go to the end with you. And whereas with someone like Sam, I knew where I stood with her. Sam and I didn't have beef. We had a good relationship. We were friends too. I was pretty much friends with everyone. But in my opinion, I think you went way too far with what you did, with piling all your emotions and all this friendship and personal stories with me. And is there anything you would like to say to me to negate this perception that I have, leaving the game very recently?
Absolutely. And first of all, I fully understand the way that things look, and I respect any feelings that you have. But every moment of like personal connection that I've had with you has been 100% genuine. I mean it every time I say that voting you out is the hardest thing I've ever done in a game. I know I referred to like Casey as my strategic number one, and I felt like that was because she didn't really have as many strong people, and I didn't really have as many strong people, and I always had the strongest personal relationship with you from every single step of the game, through literally everything. And I felt like you were better connected than I was a lot of times. I felt like I didn't know if I could really be your number one because I didn't know Like, I didn't know if you could be mine because I didn't know if I could be yours for a long time. There were other people. There was Mari, there was Janine. And through all of that, I really, truly meant every single personal thing I say. And I honestly, I don't give a fuck if you vote for me. Like, I don't care about that. You can vote for Sam. I care about you knowing I care so much about you as a person, and I want to be friends with you after this. And all of that personal shit was completely genuine. And that matters to me more than this game. I don't care who you vote for over that 10 times out of 10. I really meant it, even down to 24 hours before Final Four. I told you I really wanted to send you to fire, and I thought about it all day. I said maybe 3 hours before I talked to you, I texted Molly. I said, I have to send Marissa to fire. I can't do this. And I just kept thinking about it back and forth. And I felt like sending you to fire only empowered you or Sam further over me in a final 3. And it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I'll keep apologizing to you about it forever. And I just want you to know that everything personally was completely true. And like the way that I addressed it with you, I also don't feel great about, because like you said, it's like you needed to comfort me. And that's stupid. Like, because you were the one that was going home. And that's a moment of weakness for me. And I truly regret it. But that, I think, stemmed from like the true friendship I felt with you and how heartbroken I was to vote you out. And all of that was genuine. And I can't emphasize that enough. Vote for who you want, but I want to be your friend after this.
Okay, that's it from me. Good job, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, Marissa. She looks like a bad bitch. She looked like a bad bitch. She looked beautiful.
All right, everyone, that's the end of our jury questioning period. That means we are coming back to our finalists for their 5-minute closing speeches. We are going in reverse order from the opening speeches, which means we are starting with Adam.
I'm not going to take the 5 minutes. I just want to say that it's an honor to just be here and be a part of the game all the way till the end. And the reason it's an honor is because I got to play with all you guys. There's just no one in the cast that I disliked, and it's been a really awful time in my life, but this game is one of the best parts of one of the worst parts of my life. And it's still because of you all, but that particular one also is because of production. I know you guys put a lot of work into this, and you were very patient with me. And that means so much to me that no matter what happens tonight, I'm always going to remember this as the best part of the worst part of my life. So I believe that the more you put into something, the more you get out of it. And throughout this whole process, I've always intended to put everything I have in this game. And I did. I absolutely put everything I had in this game. And even though it's not as much as what I think anyone wanted, it was everything I had, and everything is what I got out of it. And so just thanks to all of you.
I'm also probably not going to take the full 5 minutes because I didn't prepare anything for this part because I thought I would have so many things to talk about. To just kind of echo what Adam said too, I'm just like super fucking thankful to be here. And I know I didn't play this game in like the most honorable of ways. I guess you could definitely say that's true. I definitely made mistakes, and I definitely I think treated people more disposable than I would have liked to, especially people that I considered close friends and allies throughout the course of this game. And that's something that I thought I had to do at the time, and maybe I didn't. And that's not something I can take back, but it's certainly something I can apologize for now. Despite the regrets that I have in the way I played the game, I still think that I played a really good game. I think that I managed my threat level well. I think that I made really good, genuine connections with a lot of you. And obviously I got 2 of them here to the end with me too. And they got me to the end, honestly, towards the end there. But ultimately, I think despite my slightly villainous ways, I played a game that I'm ultimately proud of because I think I just managed my threat level really well, knowing that my reputation was going to follow me into this game. So at the end of the day, it's going to end how it's going to end. And I'm really just very thankful to have played this game and had this opportunity because I never expected myself to be a player that actually made it to the end. because I don't think an under the radar game is physically possible for me to play, just with who I am as a human being. So I never thought I was going to make it here. Like that is never something that has been in my mind as a possibility for me. I always thought I would, fit the robbed goddess category a little bit more handily. And so it was really cool to be able to play this game, and regardless of how it ends, make it to the finale, which is something I never thought I would be able to do. So thanks to all of you for that. I'm really looking forward to talking to everybody after. I don't have to feel like I'm going to throw up from anxiety. So what's up? Bye.
So, I think, on a game level, we've essentially covered who I am. If you can respect the fact that I kept under the radar, used the idol to try to keep targets off of certain people by, sort of by lack of information to others, and then pushed to try to control the end game in the best way that I saw possible, which might not even have been right 100%. That's all there really is on a game level, and I get that. But something I want to touch on is every single personal connection that I made in this game was 100% genuine. There was no fakeness with me. That's not who I am. It's like, if I didn't feel like somebody wanted to give me the time of day and talk to me, that wasn't somebody I was going to put time into, i.e. Kyle. That's just the way it is. I don't hold anything against him for that. I think he probably feels the same way about me. But on a personal level, there are so many people that I just really wanted to play with, but I knew I had to think about ideal game decisions. And that was what I was thinking about this entire game. As much as I said I was more social than strategic and all that, that is what my focus was on, is how can I make ideal game calls? And I didn't make all the right calls. I don't think anybody really can in one of these games. It's very hard with the information that you have. But all I can say is there were so many connections, like as early as Spencer, Sebastian, although we had a complicated road together, losing Mickey even, though I wasn't directly involved with that, I let it happen. Cutting Janine was awful. Voting out Mari was rough. Cutting Marissa was the worst thing I've ever done in these games. And that's just coming out of the first game I played. And I've spoken with a lot of you about this while we were playing. There were a lot of perceptions of me because I essentially met, two of my best friends, one of which is obviously hosting us right now, that I literally speak to every single day, two of the closest people in the world to me. I met them. I met one of them at the beginning of the game, one of them at Merge, and I was like, sweet, this is it. I will never do anything against these two people, and I will go to the end with them. And I tried to do that, and I got cut for it, and I got maligned for it a lot by people viewing the game, people hosting me. On the negative end, it's like, was I a goat? Was I stupid? Was I not thinking things through? Like delusional. On the positive end, the best thing I can say that I received was that I'm self-sacrificing for the people I care about. And I knew I couldn't do that again. I beat myself up for that game for too long. I could not do that again. I knew I was going to have to cut people that I truly cared about on a personal level. And I knew I was going to have to go with what I saw as the ideal game move for the situation I was in. And I know that hurt people, and I understand. And if you don't want to vote for me for that, that's fine. If you don't respect under the radar games, that's fine. That's your business. But I just want everybody to understand 100%. The personal connections I made was genuine. I had to separate game from that so that I could be content with myself coming out of this no matter what happened. And thank you, everybody, for all the time and effort. This game has been an incredible challenge for all 21 people on some level, and Prod has done an amazing job putting it together. And I can't speak how much I appreciate and love everybody here truly enough.
All right, and with that, we are at the end of our final tribal council. So that means, jury, I know you guys are all watching. It is time to go and cast your votes for the winner of Utopia Valhalla. While I go calculate the votes, Molly is going to read off some season awards to keep you guys entertained.
I will be doing it as soon as the last vote is cast, just so I don't influence you guys with anything. But yeah, this has been a season, so you guys can look at me until everybody has voted. So that means, jury, do it quickly. And Jen, just shout for me when. Okay, Jen will be texting me when I can start. You guys can talk. I'm gonna mute myself.
What are we supposed to talk about?
All right, all the votes are in. Jen is calculating everything. So I will read the awards as soon as I have them up. All right. So we have a lot of awards. I think we had 17. I forgot to do fan favorite this season. It's fine. But I will be reading the winner and the runner-up for each award. And the VL and Prod all voted on these, so we had a lot to go through, which was really fun. So the biggest, or the hero of the season was Marissa, and the runner-up was Adam. The villain of the season was Sebastian, and the runner-up was Sam. The best duo was Marissa and Janine, and the runner-up was Sam and Adam. The best alliance was Rat Poison, which was Jeff, Mari, Marissa, and Janine. And the runner-up was the Hexed Hellions, which were Jake, Jarrett, and Mickey. The biggest move was Sam flipping on Joro at Final 9. And the runner-up was the 4-2-2 on Caitlyn during swap. The worst move, which actually I'm going to be throwing in an honorable mention because it happened after we put out VL awards, but the ones that won, there was a tie, was Joro splitting the votes on the Caitlyn round and Spencer not playing his idol at Final 11. The runner-up was Spencer keeping Janine at Final 12. And the one that I would like to include was Jeff voting at Mari at Final 5. Gone Too Soon was Caitlyn, and the runner-up was Casey. The best juror was Kyle, and the runner-up was Mickey. The funniest moment was Marissa misspelling the correct idol board password because that was a few days of her having it completely wrong. And the runner-up was Mari guessing the wrong puzzle answer for 45 minutes straight during Final 5 immunity. The best confessionalist was Jake saying hi vultures, and the runner-up was Sam. Best all around by a huge margin was Sam, and the runner-up was Kyle. Hot Mess Express was Janine, and the runner-up was Juliana. The best newbie was actually a tie, and it was almost every single vote was for one of these two, Janine and Mickey. The biggest rat, no runner-up for this one, Juliana. The most robbed was Jarrett, and the runner-up was Casey. And second page for the last one. The craziest tribal, obviously, was the new edgier tribal when Casey went home. And the runner-up was the live night pre-merge tribal at Final 12. So those are your awards. Thank you guys. I just want to say really quickly to everybody, to the Final 3, to the jury, to literally every person who played this game. You guys put so much into it. And as hosts, like, that's all we can ask for is for people to be as dedicated as we are. And you guys absolutely were. So thank you so much. And to Final 3, congratulations. I hope that you were all proud of yourselves no matter what the outcome is. And Jen will be out in a few to read the votes.
Thanks, Molly.
Hi, you guys. I am back, and I have the votes. Remember, you want to hear your name because when you hear your name, that means you've got a vote to win. All right, I guess we'll just get started. First vote, Adam. Second vote, Sam. Third vote, Jeff. That is 1 vote for Adam, 1 vote for Sam, 1 vote for Jeff. Fourth vote, Sam. Fifth vote, Adam. 2 votes for Adam, 2 votes for Sam, 1 vote for Jeff. Sixth vote, Sam. 7th vote. And the winner of Utopia Valhalla, Sam. Congratulations, Sam. Do you have anything you'd like to say to all of our viewers?
I'm so happy. Holy shit. My roommate's really like yelling in the kitchen. I am just really happy. Like, thank you. I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. Thank you so much. This means so much. I truly, like, legit 100% meant everything I said in my closing speech. Like, I literally never thought it was gonna be fucking physically possible for me to win a game because I'm so fucking extra. And it just, like, it really means a lot. I'm so thankful for the relationships I made in this game. And, like, I feel like I'm just gonna say the same thing I did in closing speech over again, but, like, I'm talking so fast. I'm just so thankful. And I think that Jeff and Adam both played wonderful and amazing games as well. And I'm so thankful that they were my final 3 and that I got to be here with them because I just love them so, so deeply and truly. And they're phenomenal human beings, and everyone that I met in this game is awesome. And I'm really thankful. So thank you so much. I really hate that I have to go into work in like literally 45 minutes because I just want to stay and talk and love everyone. That's all. Oh, there's a red mark on my head from my ring. It's fine. Okay, I'm good.
All right, everyone. Well, congratulations, Sam. Congratulations, Jeff and Adam, too. You both played wonderful games. We are so, so happy with how this season went. Thank you all so, so much. Thank you to all our jurors. Thank you to our Viewers Lounge, who was absolutely incredible. The board will be open soon. And thanks again. We'll see you guys in a few months for Utopia 3. Bye.
Congrats, Sam.
Bye.
Sam, you deserve this so much.
So much.
I love you guys so much. I'm so happy. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy that you.
Congrats on 2nd, also, Adam.
I don't believe it. Oh my god.
You both played such great games, and I have so much respect